Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. My name is Antoine Baillargeon, and I'm the program coordinator here at the Ottawa branch of the National Association of Federal Retirees. So on behalf of the branch, I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar on keeping your bones healthy, presented by Meg Stickl-Kroeker, who is the owner of local business AIM Fitness. So Meg specializes in fitness for adults over 50 and has been working in this field for over 15 years. And we, as a branch, are proudly in our third year of collaborating with Meg, who offers our members fitness classes every month. In today's class, Meg will share helpful information about osteoporosis, what you can do to maintain healthy bones, and then she'll lead you through a weight-bearing workout using light dumbbell weights. Veuillez noter que le webinaire sera présenté en anglais, mais la participation bilingue est toujours encouragée. I do want to give a special welcome to anyone here who is not yet a member of the association. So we hope that these webinars will inspire you to join us. And to our members, we hope that these webinars help you, encourage you to maintain your membership. And after today's webinar, the Ottawa branch will send you an email with instructions on how to access the recording of today's webinar and some information on how to join the association or give the gift of membership. Remember that you can always invite non-members to register for our webinars and try us out for free. Finally, there will be a question and answer period at the end of the webinar. So please type any questions you may have in the chat box throughout the session, and Meg will answer them during the Q&A period. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Meg.
Thank you, Antoine. Nice to see everybody out. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for coming out today. All right, so as Antoine said, I'm going to be speaking about strong bones, how to maintain strength as you age. So recently I became certified as a bone fit instructor. So this was training offered through Osteoporosis Canada. So a lot of the information I'm going to be sharing here during the presentation is from Osteoporosis Canada. And I do recommend visiting their site. They have a lot of information, all up to date, and you can learn a lot more about osteoporosis. All right, so I am going to talk a bit about bone density in osteoporosis, how to maintain bone strength, the importance of physical activity. I'll be showing you weight-bearing exercises. So I hope you're ready to go. We are going to be using weights during that second part of the presentation. And then I will share some fall prevention tips as well. All right, so a little bit about myself, just to add on to what Antoine has said. So I have worked with adults 50 plus for a really long time in the fitness industry. A lot of clients I've worked with have had osteoporosis or osteopenia, or they've had many falls, which have resulted in fractures and breaks. So if this is you, I would love to know. So let us know in the chat box with a 1 if you have osteoporosis. Leave a 2 if you have osteopenia or if osteoporosis runs in your family, and put a 3 if you're just here to learn. You're interested in learning some more information. Okay, so a 1, 2, or 3. You can leave that in the chat box, and that will help me know who's here. Now, we do want to mention that there's 2 offers for NAFR members. You can book a free 15-minute health consult with me, and we can chat about your health. So if you do have osteoporosis and you find the exercises are helpful today, I would love to offer you a free chat on the phone. And then NAFR members also get 33% off my membership. So this includes exercise videos geared to people who maybe have medical conditions, maybe you're over the age of 50, maybe you have osteoporosis. All of these videos are safe for you. We also have monthly Zoom calls and in-person workouts, and all the videos in the membership are 15 to 30 minutes long. So we'd love to have you join, and if you've got questions, we can chat about that too. All right, I'm visiting the chat. Who have we got? All right, lots of people here for themselves who do have osteoporosis. Okay, lots of you who are here to learn about it for general interest. Awesome. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. So the next question, you can also share this in the chat, is have you ever broken or fractured a bone? Have you ever fractured or broken a bone? And if you have, you can let us know what part of the body, what bone it was that you broke. Something that is very interesting, and I'll get into this very soon, is that a lot of people who have osteoporosis don't even know about it until they fracture a bone. And often they get checked up, and then they're told, oh, have you ever been checked for osteoporosis? And then they are told that, in fact, you do have it. Okay, so we've had lots of people know. That's good. That's good to know, not have broken a bone. Someone's broken a wrist. Okay, ankle twice. Ouch. Elbow, wrist. Okay, fifth metatarsus, shoulder and foot. Ankle, wrist, elbow, shoulder. Ankle slipping on the ice. Elbow fell on pavement. Wrist slipped on oil. Oh, ouch. They all sound painful. All right, thanks for letting us know. You can keep adding to the chat as we go. So osteoporosis, what is osteoporosis? Osteoporosis is a disease characterized by low bone mass and deterioration of bone tissue, which can lead to increased risk of fracture. And you can see from this picture here that a healthy bone is very dense, and then those with osteoporosis, it starts to deteriorate. The bone is less dense, more porous, and then with severe osteoporosis, you can see the difference there. Osteoporosis is a condition that causes bones to become thin and porous, decreasing bone strength and leading to increased risk of breaking a bone. And I've worked with quite a few people, like I said, who have severe osteoporosis. And in their case, even just twisting the wrong way can possibly result in a fracture of the spine. So if you have been told it's severe, it is really important that you watch how you move. But at the same time, you don't want to stop exercising. And I will get to that. I love talking about the importance of exercise, especially for those who are a little bit nervous about starting or wondering, how do I do it? Now, the stats tell us that over 2.3 million adults in Canada are living with osteoporosis. That is really high. That's a lot of people. And then I'd love to know, do you have it, or do you know someone with osteoporosis? So leave a 1 if you have osteoporosis, leave a 2 if you know somebody who has osteoporosis. All right, and we had more people who broke bones: tibia, clavicle, big toe, wrist, ribs, shoulder blade. Okay. And if you do have questions, leave the questions in the chat. I'll get to them at the end. Okay, so it seems like most people know someone who has osteoporosis. It is pretty common. The statistics tell us that at least 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men will suffer from an osteoporotic fracture during their lifetime. So those numbers are high. And osteoporosis is known as the silent thief. Maybe you've heard that term before, because bone deterioration can occur over a number of years without any symptoms. And something interesting is that quite often when people find out they have osteoporosis, it's only because they've shrunk. So many people who've lost a few inches or even a few centimeters over the years, especially as they become older, their doctors will check for osteoporosis, and sometimes that's the only way they know they have it. And that can become of a compression of the spine or even a spinal fracture. Over 80% of all fractures in people 50 plus are caused by osteoporosis. And that's why it is really important to get checked out, get your tests done if you do injure yourself, especially if you break a bone. So here's some more images of normal bone. You'll see the difference there between normal bone and someone who has osteoporosis. And this really indicates also how it is possible to break a bone with less dense bones, even if you land on your wrist. You know, if someone doesn't have osteoporosis, that may not be a big deal. You'll be able to catch yourself. But if you do, and you have your bones are brittle, it's easier to break. Right? And you'll see here on the next picture, the picture of a normal vertebra versus a crush fracture. And again, just a small fracture can impact your height. Now, maybe some of you have had a bone density test. This is called the T-score. A bone density test determines if you have osteoporosis. The test uses X-rays to measure how many grams of calcium and other bone minerals are packed into a segment of bone. Often this is taken in two areas, in the hip and also the spine. So if you do have a presence of osteoporosis, your number will be somewhere around negative 2.5 and lower. If you have a low bone mass, and this is often classified as osteopenia, your number will be from -1 to -2.5. And then normal bone density would be around the 0 mark or higher. So what can we do? What can we do? Take a bone density test. If you have not had one done yet, then get one done, especially if you are a male. Often for years before, osteoporosis was classified as a women's disease. But now, as you see, stats are showing that more men are experiencing osteoporosis too. So it's important for everyone to get tested. Regular doctor's visits are important. And then there's other things you can do, like taking vitamin D, calcium, and protein-rich foods, which can all help to keep your bones strong. And then, of course, focusing on weight-bearing exercises. So I'm going to go through a little bit more detail of the nutrition. This is information that you can also find on the Osteoporosis Canada website. So nutrition, especially calcium, plays an important role in preventing osteoporosis. In people who have healthy bones, adequate calcium intake on a daily basis is necessary to maintain bone health. For older adults, studies have shown that adequate calcium intake can slow bone loss and lower the risk of fracture. So even if you do have osteoporosis, it's not too late to maintain your bone strength. And I have worked with people who have actually been able to maintain it over many years after a quick decline. So eating well, exercising can really, really make a big difference in strengthening your bones. Now, this is quite interesting because we may wonder, well, how do I know how much calcium I should have for my condition? So when you're at the age of 50 plus, you should have 1,200 mgs of calcium per day. So this is called the calcium calculator. You can access this through Osteoporosis Canada. And basically what you can do is you can kind of say, well, this is my typical meal, my typical breakfast, my lunch and dinner, and what I would have during a day. So you can click on each category. So we have milk and alternatives, fruits and veggies, and on it goes. And then you can select an item that you have. So maybe it's mozzarella cheese. You're having a stick of cheese with your lunch. So then you can select the number of servings, and then this calcium calculator will tell you how much calcium is in each item. So there's milk, there's veggies and fruits, because there is calcium in vegetables as well, especially green, leafy greens. So you can go through this, you can check it out on the website, and then you can figure out, are you getting enough calcium in your diet alone, or do you need to supplement? So here's a few other food groups that you can focus on. So I did mention the milk and cheese, but if you are lactose intolerant, you can always focus on other things like sesame seeds. I mentioned the leafy greens, colored greens. You can do some a stir fry, add colored greens, add some spinach to your smoothie. Having white beans, maybe making a chili, adding those. Having some tofu. I don't know if you like sardines. I don't think I'm going to touch those, but I love salmon. So you can really pick and choose and just see what are some of these calcium-rich foods that I can focus on and add to my diet. All right, so let's talk about the importance of exercise. Physical activity helps to reduce the risk of falls and fractures and to prevent further bone loss. It is so important. Osteoporosis Canada really recommends it, and they do recommend that, that we are active, especially as we age. Your bones will not stay strong by sitting alone, by resting. That's not when they're going to strengthen. But instead, we need to focus on weight bearing and strength training exercise. All right, so I'm going to tell you about weight bearing exercise, and then I do have a poll for you. So weight bearing exercises, these are any exercise where the entire weight of the body is supported by the legs, such as walking, line dancing, low impact aerobics, or racket sports. So I want you to tell me, Antoine, if you want to put the poll out. I have a poll for you, so you can tell us which of these exercises do you think is recommended? What activity is considered weight bearing and recommended for people with osteoporosis? So there's swimming, biking, walking, or aqua fitness. All right, I see people are voting. All right, good. We definitely have a majority vote. All right, okay, I'm going to share the results. So here, we're going to end the poll. All right, can you see the results? Yes. So those of you who said walking, yes, that is correct. So like I said, weight bearing, I just said this, I should have not shared that other slide with you, but anytime your whole body weight is moving and is being supported by your body, that is a big weight bearing exercise. Swimming is great, and I do recommend that. I recommend aqua fitness as well. It's really good for your joints. It's really good for those of you who carry excess weight and have a hard time doing exercises. Maybe it puts a lot of pressure on your knees or your hips. Those are great things to do. But if you're looking for that as a weight-bearing exercise, that is not considered weight-bearing. So still do those things. I'm not saying don't swim or don't do aquafit, but you'll want to make sure if you have osteoporosis that you are doing those weight-bearing exercises like walking, dancing, going up and down stairs is really important because again, you're really strengthening those bones along with your muscles, and it's also a good skill to maintain. So those are some examples. And then no one put down biking, which sometimes people think, well, biking should count, right? You're circling your legs, you're working your muscles. But again, sitting down, being on a seat is you're not putting your full weight on your legs. All right, great. So thanks for voting there. So here's a few examples of some low impact weight bearing exercises. And some of these we're going to be doing together very shortly. The sit to stand, this is a really great way to strengthen your legs. It also will help you get up and out of a chair easily. And it's an alternative for those of you who maybe aren't as comfortable doing a squat. The squat is when you're bending your knees, taking your hips back. This can really help to strengthen your thighs and help you with going up and down stairs and with walking. Walking is mentioned there again, low impact aerobics. So low impact is when there's always one foot touching the floor. So that means you're not doing any jumping, no jumping jacks, nothing like that, which we do recommend not to do if you have osteoporosis, because again, you want to protect your spine and protect your bones. Toe raises, these are really great as well. Now, it is recommended for exercise programs to focus on increasing strength, coordination, balance, and flexibility. So really focusing on a program that incorporates all of those things can really help you. Now, Osteoporosis Canada put out a program called Too Fit to Fall or Fracture. And these are exercises that they recommend. So I'll go through this because this is good to know how often you should exercise. Sometimes we think maybe once a week is enough. Well, maybe you exercise occasionally. Is that good enough? And here's what they recommend. So strength training should be done at least 2 days a week, and there should be a day in between. So a good place to start is doing a strength training class Tuesdays and Thursdays. Give yourself Wednesday off. Exercises for legs, arms, chest, shoulders, back. So we want to think about our major muscle groups. Use body weight against gravity using bands. So you probably have used resistance band in the past. Using weights also can help you to build your strength. And we want to do about 8 to 12 repetitions per exercise. And here's some examples. So we've already talked about the squat. Wall push-ups are really great. A little easier than doing it on the floor. So you're probably happy to see that. And it's really good for upper body strength. A seated row using a resistance band is a great way to strengthen your upper body and also to improve posture, which can be an issue for many with osteoporosis. Balance exercises. We want to do these every day. I recommend for people to do these in the kitchen and start your day with some balance. So a good way to do it is to build a habit, get into a routine. So if you're going every morning to make yourself a cup of coffee or tea, spend 10 minutes and do some lifts like this person's doing. Stand on one foot. If you can, lift one hand and work your way up to maybe even lifting both hands. Doing the heel to toe stance with one foot in front of the other is also really good. Many people find it to be more challenging than they think. But then there's other things like Tai Chi, dancing, walking on your toes, walking on your heels, and even lifting one foot and moving your arms in different positions, different ways. And I'll be leading you through a few balance exercises shortly. Now, they also recommend posture awareness. So this means thinking about our posture every day. And I really encourage you to think about this at least 3 or 4 times a day. Now, one time a day, I find most people are not sitting straight is in front of the screen. Maybe right now, as you're here, as you're watching, you're thinking, oh no, I'm leaning back, I'm rounding my shoulders. So a really simple thing you can do, I'll show you right now, is when you are in front of the screen, you can bring your shoulders up to your ears. So this is 1. You can bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades back for 2, and then lower your shoulders for 3. Now, something as well you can think about is gently tucking your chin in and drawing your chest up slightly. Imagine your collarbones are wings and spread your wings slightly without pulling your shoulders back. So just repositioning, thinking about these cues when you're in front of the screen can really be helpful. And sometimes it's hard to think about these things because we just get into our routine. So I would recommend writing yourself a note, getting a sticky note and writing it down. Just write down posture or sit up straight, whatever you need as a reminder, and post it right beside your TV or your computer or even in the kitchen, and then remind yourself, oh yes, okay, let's straighten up and let's watch my posture. All right, and a reason, like, why is this important? Well, one reason is it does put unnecessary strain on your spine. As you see in the image, this woman who's slightly hunched, she's putting more pressure on her spine, so that can affect her spine and lead to pain as well in her back. And then the last thing I'll touch on here is aerobic physical activity. So it is recommended for adults 50 plus, and I've heard 65 plus as well, to get 150 minutes of aerobic physical activity every week. Now, it is okay to break it down. So that's good news. You don't have to go out and do hours and hours of posture work and balancing. But 10 minutes or more is good. And we want it to be at the moderate to vigorous intensity level. So if you live in an apartment, maybe this means walking up and down the hallways at a good pace. So not just strolling, you know, you wouldn't be able to drink your coffee at the same time. This is where we're really pumping those arms, going at a good pace to get your heart rate up. For others who live in a home, if you have stairs, this means going up and down your stairs, maybe starting with 2 times, all the way up, all the way down, even to the basement. And then do that for a week and then add another flight, go for 3. and adding to that. So add an extra flight of stairs every week. And because it's a gradual increase, you'll find that this is good. And kind of something to think about is you want to feel like your heart is beating faster and that you are breathing harder. But if someone asked you a question, you would be able to answer. And there's something called the talk test, where if you are exercising at a more vigorous intensity rate, you may not be able to sing, but you can talk, you can answer. You're not completely out of breath. So it is up to you to really monitor that and to really pace yourself too. So I am going to touch on the fall cycle and give a few fall prevention tips, because I know of many people who I've met who've reached out who've said, Meg, I really need your help. I've had quite a few falls. A new lady that my team and I are working with, she's had 3 falls since the fall. And she's realizing her legs are not strong. She's lost a lot of strength. She's lost a lot of confidence because of falling. So what happens here is we have the fear of falling. So this woman who's fallen, she's worried about falling again because she's had numerous falls and she has injured herself. So what happens, and what she did, is she stopped exercising. She hasn't gone out for a walk yet this spring. She's worried about falling again. So because of the inactivity, this has led to weakened muscles. And she's noticed that. She has not gone down to her basement in a really long time because she's afraid of not having the strength to get back up the stairs. And this, with the weakening of muscles, this leads to an increased risk of falling. And you may notice this yourself from, the past few years of COVID. Maybe you've noticed that, you haven't been doing the same activities and even the same level of fitness. Maybe you haven't gone to any classes and just haven't done much on your own. And this has led to this cycle. So when we have an increased risk of falling, it does lead to a fall, which then carries on the cycle of fear of falling too. So I do encourage you, if you do find that you are in this loop or you know someone in this loop, this fall cycle, I do encourage you to open up your mind to the possibility of improvement, that it is possible to see improvements. And I've helped so many people improve their strength and their balance. So I know it's possible for you too. So as we get ready to move into our exercises shortly, just notice how you feel as you exercise. We will be using a chair, so if you are a little bit worried, do hold on. And then a few more fall prevention tips. Heel-toe walking. A lot of people don't think about the way they walk, but I go in and out of many retirement homes. I do many of these presentations around the city. And what I notice is as people get older and more frail, their walking changes. And instead of doing heel-toe walking with their heel touching down on the floor first, they tend to shuffle. Maybe you've seen this. Something else I've seen is holding onto a walker and the walker is out here and their body is here hunched over. And again, they're shuffling their feet. They're worried about falling. So the best thing to do is to think about standing tall. If you use a mobility aid, hold it closer to your body and really focus on lifting your toes as you walk. Remove clutter and mats from the floor. A lot of people, about 80% of falls happen in the home. And often it is either on the same level, so it's tripping over something, catching your toe on a mat or a box or even the side of a table, or it's going up over a step or over a curb. And this can lead to a fall as well. I encourage people to stand tall and to think about balancing a book on your head. So if you think about that, we're not going to be leaning over. That book would fall. Instead, we're going to think about looking straight as you're walking, especially in the house. If you have long hallways to practice, that's a good place to look straight ahead as you walk. Get up and move throughout the day, but don't rush to answer the phone. Rushing is another cause of falls. Maybe someone rings the doorbell. Oh, I don't want to miss this parcel. Just take your time. It's good to get up off your chair, but take a few deep breaths before you move. It's easy to get a head rush if you get up too quickly. And then, oh, I think I said 80% of falls, but 50% of falls occur in the home. It may be higher now because of all the time that we spend at home. But again, we want to think about how we can make our home environment as safe as possible. All right, so let's get moving. I encourage you to join me. The best way to learn is by moving and by exercising. So I've prepared 5 exercises that are weight-bearing exercises that we're going to do together. All right, so what you will need is a chair. You probably have a chair already, but get a chair that's not going to roll away on you. And then we're also going to need weights. If you don't have weights, then you can use canned goods or even water bottles work too. You've got some water, have a sip of water as well. All right, good. So we're going to start by standing. Keep your chair close by and tuck your weights underneath the chair. We want to make sure that you don't trip. After talking about falls, that's the last thing we want. All right, so we're going to start with a weight-bearing warm-up. So we're going to start by stepping side to side. And if you are a little bit nervous about your balance today, you can hold on to the chair as you're doing this and just move one arm, or you can bring both arms side to side. And as we're doing this, think about bringing those shoulders back, lifting your chin, head is nice and straight, looking straight ahead, either towards the screen or listen to my voice and look at something else, out the window or even at something on the wall. All right, good. We're stepping, we're tapping that foot side to side. Looks great. Now I do want to mention, because the nice weather is here, and I know a lot of people are going for walks and wanting to spend more time being active outside, whether it's organizing or doing yard work or even cleaning up in the house. So I do recommend doing a warm-up and doing some exercises and stretches before you do these activities. This can really help to prevent stiffness and soreness the next day. From here, we're going to march on the spot. So keep those shoulders back, pump those arms at your side, and you can even think about lifting and standing straighter as you take your elbows back. All right, good. Weight bearing, here we are. Now you can choose to keep those feet close to the floor, or you can lift those knees a little higher. You'll notice I'm doing opposites, from opposite arm, opposite leg. This will help improve your balance. You'll feel a little bit more steady on your feet. All right, good. Let's get going. Another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, from here, we're going to take one leg in front of the other. This is called the rock. This is a great exercise for our balance. So start by lifting your front toe, shift your weight forwards, and lift your back heel. So if you want to add the arms, you can. We're going to start by reaching in front as you lift your heel, press back as you lift your toe. All right, now if you want to use that chair, stand a little closer to your chair, do that same thing, shift forwards and back. This is one stretch that I really recommend doing before you go for a walk. It really warms up those legs, stretches into your calf muscles. And then even halfway when you're walking, if you're doing a loop, halfway, stop and do a few of these, and then do this at the end of the walk as well to stretch your legs. Great, good. Now something to think about as we do this is pull in the stomach, tighten up your core. So activate. Just imagine you're doing up a tight pair of pants. Good, let's do 3 more here. 2. And then 1. I want you to hold it here, lifting your back heel and hold on to your chair or reach both arms in front. Something that'll help your balance is, again, to tighten up the core and to look forward. Find a focal point. Pay attention to something on the wall. Hold it here, slight bend of the knee, lifting that back heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's change legs. Same thing, same thing. This time we're going to reach and squeeze back. So reach, and bend those elbows, bringing those shoulders back. This is a great way to improve posture. Okay, good. As we're doing this, just notice how this side feels compared to the other side. Sometimes we have a bit more tightness in our calf muscle on one side more than the other. Good. Squeezing the shoulder blades back. This is another one that you can do in the afternoon. I find a lot of people often have that afternoon slump. Maybe you know what I mean, after you have lunch. It's easy just to kind of sit and rest, but I encourage you to keep moving. So even just doing a few of these 10 to 15 times can wake you up, get your body moving to help improve circulation as well. Let's do 2. And then we're going to hold it here, lifting that back heel up on your toe, reach with one arm, or option is to reach with both arms. Bend into your front knee, tighten up the core, and we'll hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, good. So your legs already might feel a little bit better, a little looser, feels really good to move. You should feel great. All right, so I'm going to lead us into our exercises. These are our weight-bearing exercises, and we're going to be using our weights. Those weights. All right. Like I said, if you don't have weights, you can do this without, not to worry. And you can always choose to grab something heavy around the house. Even a book works too. All right, so we're going to start with our squat and bicep curl. So we're going to be doing a 2-in-1 exercise. So this is great for those of you who don't have a ton of time but want to fit in a quick workout. So we want the palms of your hands to be facing the front of the room and relax them right in front of your legs. And we're going to start with a bicep curl. So both weights come up to your shoulders, lower your arms, and then bend those knees, but not until your legs are nice and wide like mine. Take those hips back, then bend those knees, rise up, and then go back to our bicep curl. Good. So as we're moving into our squat, we want to take our hips back like you're sitting on a chair right behind you. All right, so curl up, straighten the arms, bend those knees, good, and stand tall. Now, if you find your knees are bothering you, just do a mini squat. You don't have to go quite as far as me. All right, breathe as we go. Don't forget to breathe. I'll show you from the side. So keep going. So hips back, like you're sitting on the couch, curl the weights up. So we want to go for between 8 to 12 repetitions. So listen to your body, do what you can. All right, let's do 3 more. Good. And 2. Good. And 1. All right, great. So relax those weights at your side. You can move your shoulders a little bit, walk it out. All right, so the next one we're going to be doing is the heel raise with a side row. So it looks like this. We want to have our feet about as wide as our hips. We're going to start with our heel raise. So rise up, lift those heels off the floor, and then we're going to do a side row. So elbows are wide, lift the weight up towards your armpits. So heels up, and lift the weights. And lift those heels. And lift those weights. Good. Now, what I love about weight-bearing exercises is that they're also really functional. So these are a lot of movements that you probably do around the house already. So maybe you're lifting grocery bags, gardening supplies, having the strength in your upper body and shoulders. It's really key. Great, good. Let's keep going. Let's do 3 and 2. Good. 1 more. Heels up and lift. Great, awesome. So let's set your weights down. Down on your chair is fine. All right, so the next exercise is strengthening our legs and also working on balance. This is also a 2-in-1. You'll see I like to really put exercises together. It's good for our brain, good for our body. So we're going to use the chair for this one. So but we're going to face your chair and place one foot right directly in front of the other. Now this one is called the tandem lunge. So you can place one hand on your hip or hold on with both. Bend both knees, hips back. So we're hinging at your hips, protecting your spine with a straight back. Rise up. As you rise up, we're going to lift your front knee off the floor. So focusing on our balance. Lower that foot. And again, bend those knees, hips back, and lift. Good. So you can hold your knee up for a second or two. I would say at least 3. So 1, 2, 3. Lower that foot, bend those knees. This is a really good knee strengthening exercise. Most people find it's quite gentle on their knees, but again, listen to your body. All right. Very good. Let's do 2 more. The other option is lifting your arm as you lift your knee. So there's a lot of ways to progress. All right. 1, 2, 3, and lower that foot. All right. Let's change legs. And we'll do the same thing here. All right. So bending those knees, hips back, rise up, and lift that knee. 1, 2. Good. And lift. 1, 2, 3. Add that arm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now remember to keep breathing. Sometimes we hold our breath, especially when we're balancing. And 1, 2, 3. 2 more. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, 3. All right, good. So let's stretch that out. We'll go back to our side step, which we started with. It's a nice way to stretch the legs, stretch the arms. All right, good. I hope you all are feeling good, that you are learning something new, maybe trying a new combination and having a good time as we do it. All right, good. So the next one we're going to do, also weight bearing, is we're going to do some side taps. Good to strengthen our hips. So you can hold on to that chair or hands on your hips or arms out to the side. We're going to start by tapping to the side. So do a small tap with the toe, slight bend of your knees as we go. All right, tapping to the side. The other option is reaching with your arm out to the side. Keep those shoulders back and tighten up that core. Good. Last one. And then we'll switch sides. So other side, you can change sides on that chair or reach. Slight bend to the knees. This protects your hips. Good. Now, when it comes to falling and fracturing bones, the hips are one of the most common fracture points. Another common area that people fracture is wrists. I know some of you said you have broken a wrist in the past. Shoulder is another one too. Right, one more time. And all right, and let's walk it out. March on the spot. All right, great. So I've got one more for you. This one is called Walk the Line. And this one is really ideal to do if you have a counter you can hold on to, or if you have a long hallway to do this as well. I'm going to move my chair a bit. So this one, we are going to start by stepping one foot right in front of the other. So just like we were standing in this position, this time we're going to be traveling. So I like to bring my arms out to the side, but if you want to hold on to something, do that as we go. The shoulders back, engage your core, arms to the side, and you know that you have nothing on the floor around you, look up, look straight ahead, find your focal point, and notice how your balance feels when you look straight ahead. Okay, good. We're going to continue. I have a small area, I'm sure you do too, so you don't have to go too far. Good. Now, a lot of people find even this is challenging. So something that can help is to bend your knees slightly. Okay. All right, for those of you who find this is pretty easy, you're doing pretty well, then you can add the next challenge, which is lifting the knee, the flamingo walk. Lift that knee, tighten up that core as you lift. Good. And then you can change direction. All right, I hope you're all up and exercising with me. Good. Great. And then let's just do it one more time, there and back. Lifting that knee. Straight ahead, engaging your core. Good. And then last time back. All right, awesome, great job. So if you have some water, have a quick sip of water, and we'll get to our Q&As next. All right, good. So I hope you feel good. Let me know in the chat how that workout was. So that was a warm up, and then we did 5 exercises, including some balancing in there as well. So I do recommend continuing on. If you found that this felt really good and you do want to chat about your health and your fitness goals, please book a call with me. We can definitely chat, and there's no cost for that at all. And then you do have access to my membership too, where I have lots of videos focusing on strength and balance. So if anyone has a question, please leave it in the chat. I see there are quite a few different comments, so I'm going to just go through them now. So thanks everyone. I hope you are feeling good. Okay, so it looks like my first comment is, I want to keep my bone health from deteriorating. I'm over the age of 70. I have recent bone density test results. Okay, it looks like Sandy wrote that. So I would recommend, like I said today, is focus on good nutrition, have lots of vitamin D, calcium in your diet. Get into a regular exercise program. It will really help. I worked with a woman a few years ago who was diagnosed with osteoporosis, and she was really very slight, a very slim woman. And she was pretty young. She was just to turn 55. And she said, Meg, I need to gain weight. I have the opposite problem of a lot of people. So she started taking a protein shake and just having more protein in her diet, and exercising with weights. And I worked with her as a personal trainer for a number of years, and she found she was able to stabilize her numbers, which she was so excited about. And her doctor said, don't change anything, keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, so if you're there, if you're feeling like you relate to this story, is focus on those 3 things. All right, another question. How do you determine osteoporosis is severe? So usually that's by the number. So if you get the bone density test done, it's based on a number. And it's only the doctor who can tell that based on the test. Most people looking at you may not even know if you have osteoporosis. It is the silent thief. There's usually not any side effects or symptoms. It's not like your bones will be painful or anything. And then what T-score indicates severe osteoporosis? I'd have to refer back to that slide to tell you that number. But if you look it up, if you go on the Osteoporosis Canada website, you can find that out. Should balance exercise be done barefoot or with shoes? Great question. I would recommend with shoes to start. Shoes will help to support your feet, and especially if you have any pain in your feet. A lot of people as they age have maybe hammer toes or bunions or other medical conditions that can affect the way that they balance. So if that's you, I would recommend wearing shoes. If you've been exercising and balancing for a really long time and you want to challenge yourself, then I would say take your shoes off and do it barefoot. But if you're just getting started, or if you're a regular exerciser, wear shoes. They're meant to help you. Your balance will be better wearing shoes. In international folk dancing, there is some stamping and hopping. Is this not good for osteoporosis? Stomping, like if you're stomping your feet, I would say just do it a little bit less. And hopping, I would say do 1 foot at a time instead of both feet. Yes, it is recommended not to jump if you have osteoporosis. So just make modifications. Will we be getting a copy of these slides by email? If you would like them, then I can send them. Yes. Yeah, so I'll send them over to Antoine. Betty shares, one of the best tips I ever received from a physiotherapist was to buy an inflatable toy ball. Mine is about 9 inches diameter. Partially inflate it and use it as a bolster behind the small of my back. Oh, this is good. When I'm on my computer, I've not had a backache from sitting there since I started using it. And it's cheaper than an ergodynamic chair. Oh, that's awesome. I've got something to share with you. I have one of those. I have one as well. This one is from Western University. So they have the Canadian Centre for Activity and Aging, and it's like that too. You can get a kid's ball. These are designed for exercising, and I've used these as well in my classes. Now, you used to be able to order them from their website. I think you still can, but you can also, go to any place and just look for an exercise ball. But this is, I imagine, the size you're talking about, Betty. And what you do is you just stick it right behind you in the small of your back. And it's amazing. It really does help you to sit up straighter and gives you that extra support. So thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I haven't used my ball behind my back in a long time. Now I will. Sandy asks a question, should exercise be modified if you have asthma? Yes. Definitely it should. So you may find that the recommendation of doing 10 minutes of cardio at a time is better for you instead of doing, an hour or even half an hour at a time. Listen to your body. So if you notice that, you're having a harder time breathing, slow it down, slow down the intensity, take more breaks. And what I do with some clients too, even those with COPD, is I'll do a short cardio exercise. So maybe it's marching on the spot, and then I'll go into an exercise with weights and go back and forth. So it gives you a bit of time to recover. Why do you only qualify for a bone density if you are 65 and older in Ontario? Isn't that a bit late when an earlier diagnosis gives you more time to treat it? Yes, it is. It is. What I was told when I was taking my training is you have to ask. You have to ask your doctor. So if you do suspect it, or if you just want it done, which I really recommend, your doctor can refer you for the test. But yeah, I agree. I think it is too late. Personally, I would agree with that. I believe that rushing and inattention is one of the main causes of falling. Yes, take your time. 2 of my falls were caused by this. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Lenore. Absolutely. Nancy shares great exercises, some new to me. Good. Thank you. That was great sampling of exercises. Do your virtual classes cover these? Yes. Yes. So in my exercise videos that you get access to when you're a member, I have so many different videos, and a lot of them are, well, all of them are safe for people with osteoporosis. And if there's certain movements, I didn't get to this, but if there's movements like twisting, I will say, if you have osteoporosis, don't twist at your spine. Instead, just reach with your arms. So there's certain movements we really want to be careful with. And I will touch on those really quick. One of them is rounding your back. So when you're leaning over, we want to keep our back straight if you've osteoporosis. So for a good stretch, you can place your hands on your knees, but avoid rounding your back. Instead, keep your back straight. You may not go quite as far, but that's a good stretch for you. Another thing is rapid twisting, especially if you're holding on to something heavy. So let's say, you have something, a large box in your hands. A lot of fractures and injuries can happen by lifting, twisting, and lowering, and that really can tweak your back. So, and can lead to a fracture in your spine. So lift, move your feet, and then lower. So think about not twisting, but instead move those feet if you need to change directions. And then the last one we want to avoid if we have osteoporosis is leaning to the side bending. So again, that can put extra pressure on our spine. So if you need to get up off the chair instead of leaning to reach, do that. Take a step, keep your back straight, but bend, use your legs, just like we did with that tandem lunge. That's a really good way to reach for something on the floor. All right. Are these exercises good for arthritis? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, very much. I have a lot of members who have arthritis, and they found that just by moving more, it's really helped them. According to my DEXA, I have a high risk of fracture on hips, but not lumbar region. Is this common? That I cannot answer. That's a question to ask your doctor. There may be information on Osteoporosis Canada about that, but I'm not qualified to answer that. Do your classes cover which yoga and stretching exercises to avoid? Yes, so I give a lot of modifications, like I already mentioned. Was the session recorded? Will it be available? Yes, it will. So please do it again. Antoine will send out the instructions on how to access it. Thank you for this worthwhile presentation, very informative. Great, lots of thank yous, so thank you very much. Thanks everybody, I hope you enjoyed the session and the mix of the education and also the exercises too. So thank you so much. And if you do want to be in touch, also check your email because you can reach out at any time or visit my website, which I'll put in the chat before you leave. Thank you everybody.
Thank you, Meg. That was a great presentation. So I just have some closing words for everyone. So thank you again, Meg. I think everyone enjoyed the presentation a lot. Also, a reminder to anyone still watching that we will be sending out a follow-up email, which will include information on how to access today's recording and some information about AIM Fitness to get in touch with Meg. Also remember that you can invite non-members to attend these webinars and try us out as guests. And to register for any upcoming webinars that we are hosting, you can visit our Ottawa branch website. We'll also make sure to include the website address in the follow-up email. So thank you so much, everyone, and see you at our next webinar. Merci beaucoup et au revoir. Bye, everyone.